Good afternoon and good evening and good morning. Welcome to the Let's Talk with Paula show. And I talked enough in the last show, so if you want to hear what I had to say, listen to the Lady Nighthawk show. If you want to hear what both of us had to say, listen to Jeremiah Interdenominational Church. Now it's time for my guest host to introduce himself, and I'm going to let him talk, because that's what he came on here for. But something I saw on television before I came here had me riled up, okay? So I couldn't let it go. I'm sorry, I apologize. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Jonathan Hans Kirby.
Sergeant.
Yeah, I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. I'm just here on this show because Paula asked me to come to the show. I guess I was the last of the crop.
That's not true. I had you come back on this show because it was something that we didn't finish the last time, and I told you that I was going to have you come back on and finish, and that's why you came circle right back around. I mean, it's people that I got that they sitting waiting for me to make a. So no, you're a special person to me. So if you say that you want to come back and finish up whatever you was talking about, yeah, you done bumped some other people.
We could have. Something that's on my mind, what you were talking about in the last show, about people getting injured and hurt. I had a friend of mine that was injured. Mm-hmm. You know, a guy took her and threw her down in the street, mm-hmm. like she wasn't nothing.
That's what we were talking.
You know, and people, we have to stop this because he didn't know who he was throwing to the ground, and you know, disrespecting her little 7-year-old son, mm-hmm. you know, and we just gotta cut this out. We gotta cut it out because, you know, the tension is up, but it don't really have to be up if people don't do stupid things.
Right.
So, you know.
And if they had things for them to do.
Right, correct. When I found out about her issue, I happened to be looking at Facebook, and she one of my favorites. You know, as far as professionals are concerned, and she helped me a lot in my sickness. And when I saw that, you know, rage came up in me. I didn't care who he was, you know, and then found out some other things, so we investigated him, and you know, got a lot of stuff on him, mm-hmm. you know, and you know, she has clippings, and she's been injured. I mean, she really injured.
And she had witnesses.
And and they shut it down. Mm-hmm. We went to all the people that's supposed to. Don't nobody want to handle it.
Mm-hmm. With the pictures, the witnesses,
yep.
You know, I think that's awful. Did you send her to Van Hollen?
Yep.
Okay.
And his office don't take domestic
violence. Did you check with what county is she, with the mayor in her area?
Yep. Right here in this area.
For real.
I'll show you the clippings.
No, I believe you, but for real?
For real. And
which county came out? Was it the county or the city police?
City police.
Okay, so I had a similar experience. I didn't let it get that far because I went right back into the store, okay? It was one of the vagrants was outside, and he asked me for money when I went into a 7-Eleven. I'm not gonna say which one. And I told him I didn't have any money. He said, well, when you come out, you should have some, right? I ain't say nothing, I just went on in the store. When I came back out the store, he started to approach me like he was gonna do me some harm, cuss me out, call me a bunch of names, and told me he kicked my butt right here, you know, and he'll take my money from me, right? So I went back into the 7-Eleven, and I called. I had the lady call behind the counter. Instead of her calling the county police, I don't know if they directed the call the police department for Bowie. I don't know, but it was a female that showed up, The guy left by the time she got there, but she knew who it was that I was talking about. And she acted like it was nothing. I was very disappointed. And I asked her, was she going to write a report? And she said, oh, well, he hangs around here all the time. Like, well, you let it, it's okay for him to harass people coming in out the silver number, because what's going to happen is people going to stop coming. Y'all come in here and eat and do whatever, but people aren't going to stop coming in here because he actually, I was threatened by him.
Or see, they don't know who you are and who you know, you know, at the same time, and, you know, something could happen.
So it's like, so I asked her, so I almost had to ask her, force her to write a report so I could have it on hand, and the people in the 7-Eleven had a report about this person, okay? And she just took it as being nonchalant. I didn't, because I felt intimidated. I felt threatened, you know? So when you told me about the other lady, that she was actually abused in front of one of these stores, I'm not gonna say the name of the store, I can only speak for myself, that, you know, we're gonna have her come on, but we just wanna make sure that we have all the okays for her to do that when she comes, okay? But it's a shame that, so it's not just the teenagers, you understand what I'm saying? It depends on who's a vagrant that's sitting outside that has a mental problem, or is hungry enough, you understand what I'm saying, that they feel that they have to intimidate women. Because I don't ever see them intimidate men. I always see them intimidate women, okay? But I'm saying to you, if that happens to you, immediately go back inside the store and wait for the police to come. Whether they do anything or not, just be safe, okay? Not that you could get in your car, but he told me, if you get in your car, I'm gonna break your window. So I said, well, nah, to myself, I ain't gonna give you an opportunity to do that, so let me go back. If you wanna break the store's window, you do that. So I went back in until the police came, and I pulled off before they left.
See, that would have drew the line right there. That, I mean, even though that's a material thing, you know, that would have draw the line for me.
Well, if he was gonna throw it, he was gonna throw it to hurt me, not just to break the window.
Exactly, and that's
I was
the
gonna
way
be
I
the
would have
target.
took it.
Yeah, that's the way I took it. I was the target. It wasn't that the window he was trying to break. It's like, okay, you think you're gonna be safe in there? No, I'm gonna throw it at you.
Exactly.
You know, so just be careful. If you're at a store and that happens to you, go back inside the store and call the police. You don't have to let them call. You call the county police. Don't call the Bowie police. I don't know if they're gonna send them out anyway, but call the county police, because I think they have a little bit more authority. I don't know. But I just feel like that, since the story you just told me too, that apparently the county police has more jurisdictions and more authority than the Bowie police. Yeah. So I would suggest that you call yourself and call the county police, okay? And tell them, nope, I don't want, you know, Bowie's good, their police station, I ain't saying nothing bad about you, I just don't know what your jurisdictions and restrictions are versus what the county can and cannot do, you know? So you have to make your own choice. We have a very good Bowie police station here, okay? So I'm not talking bad about them. I'm just saying that I don't know who has the more authority to do something, the county or the, you know, city police. Because it sounds like you having a problem with the city police.
Well, they need a
not
little
you,
bit
the
more.
person. The person.
They need a little bit more training, you know, and they don't have the ethic, police ethic. They don't use it at all. You know, they figure they got the big gun beside them, and, you know, they got the authority and the handcuffs and the mace and, you know, the OC spray or whatever, but that's not how you get a criminal. You know, you have to use your brain to do that. Why waste a bullet? That's a waste. And then when you're wasting a bullet, then you're gonna waste a life. You know, so it's two wastes, you know, and then you're gonna waste your life, because if you ain't file that thing right at the same time, you know, probable cause or whatever, you in trouble, you know, and don't let anybody know who you are. Come on, that's more stuff.
Well, I feel sorry for her, and you know, I always give Van Hollen credit, you know, and he helps people. So I don't know, because that was out his jurisdiction, you know, that he didn't handle it. But I've never seen a person be turned away from whenever I've sent them over to his office.
Well, she really wasn't turned away. It's just that they didn't have, I guess, enough attorneys to take
her.
over that. Yeah,
Oh,
take
gotcha.
over it. But they're gonna hear it again.
But that sounds right. That sounds
Yeah.
more like what must have happened, and it's during the summertime, than him not assisting at all. Because anybody I've ever, even myself, I've never, his staff, I don't know, maybe they cut back on their staff too. I don't know,
well,
you know?
they did.
Oh, okay.
They did, but you know, he had the case with the guy being accused of being a MS-13 or whatever, and sent him somewhere and put him in prison or whatever. And you know, he was working on that case too, and that was pretty big because it was worldwide, really.
Mm-hmm.
And countries were like, I don't want him coming here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we gonna do if he come here? How much money y'all gonna pay us to keep him?
Well, the President of the United States, the person in charge of that government over there, said, we're going to keep him as long as he's paying us. And he's paying them a lot of money.
That's right.
And they actually gave a figure on how much money they get paid to take all them people that they send them to, whether they convicted or whether they supposed to be there or not. Send them. You going to pay me for them? Send them. Yeah. And so I think that after he said that, public opinion must have got on him. So now I'm talking about the other guy from the country that they send them to. The guy from the country that they send them to, he's now trying to make sure who should have been there and who's. I take my hat off to him, because now he's trying to find out who should have been there and who should not have been there, and he's trying to send those people home that should have never got locked up. Yeah. And he has given out a number on how many people he had that were sent there that had no business of being
now
in
we
those
still got
prisons.
to pay them because they were wrongly accused. So, you know, we still have to pay them.
But that's up to them to take it any further. You know, they might have intimidated them so bad that they might not want to do nothing. You know, they're just glad they're out of jail. You don't know what's on somebody's mind. You know, I'm glad I'm out, because they was giving ship me to some place I definitely didn't want to go to. You know, but I take my hat off to him, because he said that he was going to find out how many people he had in his jail that were supposed to be there, and the ones that were not, and he was going to send them home, or send them home, or he was going to send them to a jail that was closer to their house while they get a attorney or something to get them out. Well, they ain't had no business being there. Yeah, but it is, but the money that he got paid, I don't know if they're gonna make him pay it back, because the President of the United States made sure that they got paid to take all those people, because that was one of his campaign slogans. That's what I heard on the news. I don't know that for a fact, okay? So I'm saying hearsay, okay?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not. So let me make that clear. I cannot make a statement that I did not hear come out that person's mouth himself, okay? But that's what allegedly I heard. So I don't know. The guy that I'm talking about, though, he was on the news. So I saw him on a news channel saying that they were, going to try to make sure that they sent people back home. I don't remember what news channel it is. I look at 4 and 7, okay, sometimes 9, but sometimes 5. So, but I was kind of glad that he finally, realized what they were doing was wrong, Yeah. I don't know whatever happened about it, because after that I haven't heard any more. So I don't know, if they actually did that or not. But the young lady, we are going to have her on here, and when they say that they cleared, so that she can come and let people know, just like me, just telling this story today, that she's not the only one. It just depends on whether or not it was a group of people, boys, or whether or not it was a vagrant standing on the front. Mine was a vagrant standing outside the store, But whatever it is, she needs to get justice for whatever that was, because she got physically thrown down on the ground, she got robbed.
And she's a government worker.
Yeah, and robbed, So, yes, she definitely needs to come and, try to tell us what to look out for, because she can give us some tips on what happened and what to look out for.
She's real smart, too.
Yeah.
She's sharp.
So I'm looking forward to seeing her. But we were just waiting to make sure that she got clearance. on the reason why she hasn't been on this far.
That's right.
And once she gets the clearance to come, then we'll make sure we have the documents that we need to make sure that she's cleared to come on the show to share that information, because she has some tape footage.
Yep.
And I know I have to get that right, you know, for her to be able to show the tape.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And there's somebody else that you talked to me about the other day that needed some help as well.
Well, it's a whole lot of people.
I know, but it was somebody that we talked about while we was on the phone that you were telling me that I don't know whether or not they lost their job or whether or not they were being evicted. It was something that was like a part of the headlines of what's going on to people now.
Yeah. Well, I had one of the veterans was going through trouble with the landlords and stuff over there in Montgomery County, and slumlords, and they wanted her to. They're taking all her money, and now they want her to leave, you know. And I was like, nah. So I made a few calls, and now we getting her a new house now, so she don't have to worry about that.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like this is how we help other people, by telling them what's going on out here, and that there is help out there. You know, if you need help, don't sit back and just think that there's nobody that you can reach out to or nobody that you could talk to. My number is on the end of the credits. Jonathan's email address is at the end of the credits, so you can reach out to us. My email's not working right now, so you best to leave me a message. Okay, a text message is even better. So if I need to get back to you, then I can. But you're not out here alone. We don't need the National Guard in our cities. Our police enforcement agency, Bowie Police Enforcement Agency, but PG County Police, agencies, DC Police, they're doing their jobs. You know, we have bad apples, and I don't care who it is, whether you working on a job or, in the church, you got bad apples everywhere. Yeah. But there are good people that are serving on these positions and risking their life every day. And I ask you to pray for all the police officers, all the veterans, all of the ones that are still in service. The firefighters, the people that work on the ambulance crews, anybody that's a service, the people that deliver your trash and pick it up, to pick up the trash off your house. Yep. It's hot outside. Offer them some water if you see them outside, okay? But I can say one thing, and I live here in Bowie, and I've been living here for a while. This is one of the best places that I could say that I am glad that I live in, Bowie. There are people that are here that will help you. There are people out here your neighbors that will look out for you, I'm not one of those people that run inside of people's houses, because my mother and them told me no. I was taught not to run in and out of your neighbor's house. I speak to everybody. They told me to speak to everybody, but I'm not going to be running in and out your house, because that's where confusion gets started.
Yeah, you get caught up.
Yeah, so I don't even do that. But my street is quiet, so I thank God that I live where I live. But this young lady, is important that we try to give her some support so that she knows that there are people out here that care, about her. And I'm just so sorry that I don't have the two little kids' names and, people that you can contact so that we can reach out to them and send them, our condolences. I have done it on the air, but I just feel like we just need to try to do something more for those families, because you lose a child, I don't care how old it is, it's hurt. You lose a parent, a sister or brother, it hurts. A good friend, it hurts, People you've been in the military with, when you was in the military, it hurts, Even the day that you're not with them, but when you hear about them, and y'all now are veterans, that hurts. So, we just need to try to be a little bit more sympathetic to what the scenarios are going on out here.
Just talking about that, a few years ago, one of my captains, he was a good guy too. He was thorough, and stern, but he was a good guy. And I seen him on 295, way down. Hey, he seen me way. And then next thing you know, I found out he was killed in a car accident. You know, that day.
Oh, the same day.
Same day.
That's so sad.
I was like, oh my gracious. I mean, that really hit me.
Mm-hmm. But you got a last chance to say hi. You know?
Man.
If you hadn't been on the highway that day, you wouldn't have never been able to tell him bye.
Yeah, but it still would have hurt because he was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, just because he had rank, he got things done, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But just to see him and see his smile and he, you know, and then gone.
I'm so sad. My condolences to you and their family as well.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that what we need to pay attention to is that the financial aid, I was talking to somebody on the phone today and they mentioned that to me. When you get on your show today, would you mention that we need to put a stop to this for, you know, the person that's trying to stop us from getting financial aid? That we know that they've been sued by Harvard and I think it's Cornell.
Yeah, that's because they can't get in it, you know.
Well, I think that from what they're saying is that this person has never been to college that we're talking about.
Never.
Okay. And now they suing him because they are proving that it has not been discriminatory. Okay. Whoever applies, if you qualify, you get in. And so now he's trying to make it Cornell, I think. Excuse me if I have the wrong school. It's one of them, and they're trying to say that they don't have enough Jewish people in there. Well, if you're not applying, you can't count them in your numbers, you know. Maybe they don't want to go there. Maybe they can't afford to go there. I mean, I know that I got financial aid, but me and the person that was talking about, that brought it to my attention and made me mention it on the show, was that by them cutting off financial aid, your children are not going to be able to go to college. Yep. And that's one thing that our parents always told us that we needed to do. We had to go to college. But they're cutting out the financial aid money. They're cutting out the Medicaid. They're cutting out, they're trying to mess with Medicare. And they're trying to mess with some of these other health organizations. I saw, and it didn't make sense, on Stephen Colbert, I watched him, and Seth Meyers. This person said that they were going to make our prescriptions go down to $150,000 or 150%, whatever it was ridiculous. He said, oh, so we're going to go into the pharmacies now and they're just going to give us our medicine. Yeah. We're going to have to, you know, they're going to pay us to come get it because the number was absurd. So they were saying that he just makes up numbers, and if you're not smart enough to know, that's why he don't want you to go to college. That's what they say.
Oh, man.
They don't want you to be smart enough to know that when he throw out these numbers, they're ridiculous, you know.
But I say out of all that, you know, create your own, you know, especially if you know something, you know, create your own, you know. That's what I got tired of, you know, working for somebody. So I went and created my own, and that's how I got out there with the veterans and stuff, you know. Even though I am a vet and I know what a need is, you know, I created a job for myself, and it kept me busy too. Kept me busy.
But you use your own money, though.
It don't matter.
No, what I'm saying is it's a job, but you weren't a job that was paying you. You was paying out. Okay, I want to make that clear. Yeah, it kept you busy mentally and helped people.
And it didn't matter because they got paid. If I wanted to, when they offered me to give me something, I could have.
You did. I know, but it wasn't in your heart. That wasn't what you were out there for. That was not your purpose. Okay.
No.
And so, you know, when people think of job, they think of being paid. Well, a job is not. You made a good point. A job is not always a job that you get paid for. It's a job for what you do from your heart. That's your payment. It's what you do from your heart and your spirit. You know.
And what you do under God, He gonna most definitely
reward
take care of you and your family.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
It's like me doing that, all my girls, my daughters, you know, they doing well. You know, one of my oldest girls, she That girl, when she asked me to get her a job, she said, "Dad, I need a job." I said, "Okay, come over to my house. I'm gonna show you some things." And I did. She went. She obeyed what I was talking about. And some guy was watching her. He was a supervisor. He said, "And that's who I need on my team." He hired her, and he asked her, did she have her firearm certification? She said no, but I can get it. That's what happened. Now, she worked for a government agency. She just bought a 6-bedroom house. My grandchildren are all straight. You know, I got my second oldest. She was in high school taking college classes. So now, when she finished graduating, she goes straight to college. Yep, she can do what she need and on scholarship. You know, so I just thank God for that, and all the rest of them is following right behind her.
Because it's a good example.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I went to college for myself. It was one reason why after I got married, I was continued to increase my education because I wanted to be an example for my children. And that's the only way you can do it. You have to set an example as well. But I just really thank you so much for coming on again. And like I said, it was that young lady was the story that we was following up on after you said it, because I knew it was something important that we need to go back to, and it was the young lady. So I thank you, you know, for coming back on. And I mean, you know, man, you can come on here every week. I don't care if you know, it's not because I don't have nobody. It's just because, you know, people need to see and hear just normal stuff that's going on in people's lives, you know, along with the news that we try to tell them about, right? But we want to say good night because we done missed it a couple of times, okay? And we want to say good night and wave at you this time with my brace on. We're going to wave at you this time and tell you good night. Be blessed and be safe out there, okay? Please be aware of your surroundings and be safe. God bless you.
Let's talk with Paula.